Hey everyone, Amy Cadora, Norwex's Chief Brand and Mission Officer, and just continuing on going through the rooms of the house and thinking about the chemicals that are of most concern, looking at the laundry room next. So, in the laundry room, the two products that I think are really important to evaluate for chemicals are I'm going to start with your dryer sheets. So many people use dryer sheets and there's definitely some research that is indicating some of the chemicals that are embedded in those dryer sheets can be potentially harmful to our health. The chemicals that are put in there would include synthetic fragrances. Of course, synthetic fragrances can contain thousands of different ingredients that we don't actually know what they are, number one. And then number two, they can also contain phthalates. Phthalates, as we talked about in the earlier video, are endocrine disrupting chemicals. They get embedded in your clothes. They get actually put out into the environment through the air because you can always smell when someone's doing their dryer, right? In the neighborhood if you're going for a walk. So, really important to look at alternatives to dryer sheets. We really focus on wool dryer balls as a better option. You're going to be able to dry your clothes faster. The wool is also going to help, continue that to release the wrinkles because the wool is getting in between the material and kind of keeping it fluffed up so it doesn't get all crinkled. So it's a really easy way to get rid of some of those toxins that can be in the air, actually, in your laundry room or out in the environment, and also the chemicals that end up sticking to your clothes themselves, because that's what they're designed to do. They are created to stick to your clothes to keep them highly fragranced, right, for a long period of time and also softened. Um, and of course, there's also preservatives, there's stabilizers that are in those dryer sheets. And those can be irritating as well as being endocrine disrupting chemicals. The other area that I look at is a laundry detergent. Oftentimes, if you go to the dermatologist because you're feeling itchy or you seem to be having a skin reaction, what's the first thing they ask you? They'll ask you what laundry detergent you're using. And often that's because the traditional detergent you may be using can contain ingredients that stay on the clothes and then it gets on your skin and you're wearing those products or excuse me those clothes for day and night, right, essentially. So anything including fragrances, again synthetic fragrances specifically, that can be a mix of phthalates and VOCs, and that can ultimately be irritating to the skin. Preservatives that are used in those products like methyl isothiazolinone, other maybe formaldehyde releasing preservatives, those can sometimes be very irritating to people's skin. Optical brighteners and also synthetic dyes can be irritating to the skin. So it's really important to look at your laundry detergent to make the right choices. With Norwex, of course, you don't have to worry about that. We've done all of that work. We've eliminated thousands of different potential chemicals that you will not find in our laundry detergent. No optical brighteners, no synthetic dyes, no synthetic fragrances, and the list goes on and on. So I would say laundry detergent and dryer balls, those are areas where you can have a pretty big impact with just two products in your laundry room. Last area I want to talk about is living room. So we spend a lot of time living in our living room, right? And this is also an area where dust can certainly accumulate. And dust for me is it's more than just a visual aesthetic issue that that you see it accumulating on your surfaces. Dust can contain up to 45 different chemicals. Dust actually acts like a magnet for the chemicals that are in your air, that just are there because of other products you use. They're there from even off gassing that happens for your furniture or your electronics. And if you look at a sunbeam coming down into your living room, you can actually see all the particles. It's crazy how much is in that sunbeam. And of course, ultimately, those particles, when they're attached and become dust, they fall to the ground or they fall to your shelf or your cabinet surface. So it's really important, especially when we have toddlers that are maybe crawling on the floor, walking on the floor, picking things up off of the floor and putting it in their mouths, that we try to eliminate that dust as much as possible. So we have products, just a whole slew of products to help eliminate the dust, but also the chemicals that are attached to that dust. That's our goal, is to get rid of that dust because of the different chemicals and the impact it can have on our bodies. Secondly, a lot of people, of course, especially as we are going into the fall season, excuse me, will begin to use air fresheners with a special fall fragrance or candles with a special fall fragrance. What's the challenge with that? Well, both of those can contain a multitude of chemicals. The fragrances alone, again, can contain thousands of different ingredients to make up the synthetic fragrances, and it just contributes to overall poor indoor air quality. So you will have people that might say, gosh, when I go in and there's an air freshener or plug in, I get a headache almost immediately. Or when candles are being burned, also you can feel it. Like maybe if they have respiratory challenges, it's just adding to the onslaught of those chemicals, and it's making it difficult for them. So for me, it's really important to try to reduce the pollutants in the air, to keep the volatile organic compounds. That's kind of the class of chemicals that are coming off of air fresheners and many candles, with those synthetic fragrances especially, because the VOCs, that can include formaldehyde, it can include benzene, toluene, and all of those aren't good at all for us to be breathing in, especially in fall and winter when maybe we're not opening our windows as much. Again, you have phthalates, and you'll see kind of a common theme. Phthalates comes up a lot, and that's actually why it is of a concern, because it means we're getting a lot of exposure to phthalates through all the products that we're using throughout our home. So what are some great alternatives to that? Well, you can do some ideas we've talked about are little simmer pots where you can even use. I just went to a Goodwill and bought a secondhand little crock pot, mini crock pot, and do your simmer pot that way all day. You can, of course, use our probiotic enzyme-based odor eliminator to get rid of odors at the source, using that biotic technology, keeping your windows open, investing in some plants and trying to keep them alive as I do really helps to keep the air fresh as well. So it's we're trying to move people off of fragrances. Some people don't want to make the jump to zero fragrance, so we have some options for them that are certainly better than traditional synthetic fragrances that are out there. So with that, that kind of concludes our 4 room. We went through 4 rooms, right? Look at the chemicals that I would most get rid of coming out of or coming into our homes, trying to create safe havens, and just teaching people how to live cleaner, safer, better. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.